Okay. We'll start with most abundant. So we've got IgG. So the first Ig represents immunoglobulin, right? And immunoglobulin is the same thing as an antibody. Does that make sense? So they're synonymous. So IgG kind of looks like this, like a Y. Okay, this is the most abundant antibody. Okay, so let's see.
And these are all found in the blood?
Yeah, so antibodies are produced by plasma cells, they come from B cells. Because a B cell, what happens, a B cell will attach to a foreign pathogen, right? And then it'll divide into memory B cells, so it's more prepared for the next time, and then to a plasma cell, which pumps out antibodies. Okay. So IgG is the most abundant antibody, and it's got three main functions. So first is complement activation, something called opsonization, and the ADCC, which is, anybody know?
ADCC.
Antibody-Dependent Cellular Cytotoxicity, I believe. Okay, so I'll go through these. So complement, do you know what complement is?
It's all the little proteins that, when they get activated, attach to the pathogen, and they put spores, or essentially just drills holes in it. It lyses and kills itself.
Yeah, exactly. So they're basically these proteins floating around. When they become activated, they form the membrane attack complex.
Yeah.
I like to think of it as Power Rangers, like the Megazord, and the Power Rangers combine into
Huge thing.
Yeah, and they're it's kind of what it is really, because it basically forms these spherical transport protein-looking things and just attaches to a bacteria, and then it just spills out its guts, which is pretty sweet. Yeah. And then complement is also involved with opsonization and also inflammation. Okay. Do you guys know what opsonization is?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It's there, but
Yeah. So opsonization enhances phagocytosis. So there's cells like macrophages, neutrophils that literally eat foreign pathogens, right? They'll swallow them. And so what complement does and what IgG does is enhance this. What was explained to me is that it's kind of like condiments, right? If you saw a cheeseburger, you'd probably eat it, but you're more likely to eat it and eat it faster if it has ketchup and mustard, maybe some bacon on it, some cheese, It's kind of like adding to it and kind of making more appealing for these phagocytic cells, okay? So it coats the cell, and so basically what you'll see is you'll have this pathogen, right? And then you'd see all these antibodies attached to it, right? And when the phagocytic cell sees that's wrapped up in all those good antibodies, it just
it's ready to go.
yeah, it enhances it. Okay. And then antibody-dependent cellular cytotoxicity is specifically with viruses, but these antibodies will attach to the virus, and then these cells called natural killer cells will see that cell is marked up with all these antibodies and will spew out its toxic chemicals and kill it basically.
That's the cytotoxic
Yeah.
T cell or whatever, or
That's
just
it's called a natural. This
it's different than the
Yeah.
cytotoxic one.
yeah, it's not the helper T cell, cytotoxic cell. It's a natural killer cell. Which, man, immune system is actually really sweet.
Yeah.
It's got some cool stuff going on. It's like warfare, basically. Okay, so back to IgG. So these are like what they do, okay?
Right.
So it's the most abundant one. Yeah, and it can pass through tissues. This is the one that's responsible for like blood typing, right? So when you have AB, the antibodies are IgG, and this is the reason, because they're so small, they can pass through the placenta, and that's where the hemolytic disease of the newborn comes in. Other antibodies aren't able to pass through, and so that's why it's associated with blood typing. Okay? All right, real quick. So IgM is the next one, and it actually is a pentamer. Kind of looks like this. So where the IgG has 2 binding sites, this one has 10. Okay, so when a plasma cell first produces antibodies, the initial immune response, they're usually IgM, right? So we'll put initial immune response. Sorry if this isn't going to be on your test, but I really don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're going too detailed, but really these are the 2 main ones you need to worry about. The other ones aren't as bad.
Okay.
Okay, so this one also does complement activation and opsonization, but it's not involved in that. Okay, so those are the same. So because it's big, this one's only found in the blood. It doesn't pass through tissues very well. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So it's released in the blood, but it can't. So it's limited in where it can access, right? Like if you have an infection that's in the tissues, IgM is not going to do you too good. But it's the next most common antibody. Okay. All right. Okay. So the next most common one, I believe, is IgA, and this one is actually a dimer. Looks like this. So it's got 4 binding sites. It's basically 2 of those mashed together. Okay, and this one coats mucous membranes. So this basically lines mucous membranes and prevents bacteria and stuff from binding to it,
Okay.
to the membrane, right?
So it's more of a protective than
Yeah.
attacking type.
Yeah, because one thing that's about antibodies do is they like link things together, like, and help group the pathogen together, so it's not so widespread. They group together so your body can focus and attack better. And so these ones are more involved with like agglutination and like bringing things together, but this one is more of like a protective barrier. Okay, and then next we have IgE, and all I think about, and this one also looks like this, all I think of is immune response. Scratch that, allergic response, more specific. Okay. That's basically all you need to know about that. So when you have inflammation or an allergen or something like that, this one is found on mast cells and basophils, which are the white blood cells involved with allergic reactions, right? Okay, and then the last one is IgD. And this one's pretty much, the function is unknown. They think that they're attached to B cells and are related to signaling, but they don't really know. So, and these ones also look like this. So really there's only 2 of them that don't look like that. IgM is the big one, IgA is the small one that coats it. So those are kind of the main things you need to know about them. So, but these are kind of like your key players, and this one's a protective one, this one's immunity, and then this one you don't really know. So,
Sweet.
yeah, in a nutshell, right?